Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
And we welcome everyone to the show, and we pay tribute to the great Lee Corso, who today, ESPN has announced, will retire at the age of 89. He'll turn 90 on August 7th. And he put out a statement saying that my family and I will forever be indebted to the opportunity to be a part of ESPN and College Game Day for nearly 40 years. I have a treasure of many friends, fond memories, and some unusual experiences to take into my retirement. And, of course, that means the headgear. Now, if you're wondering about the record in the headgear, they actually have a record with the headgear.
I didn't know that.
Right? There actually is a record. He made 430 selections in his career with the headgear. His record, not bad, 286 and 144.
That's not terrible. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Nearly 67%. How about that?
Yeah.
Right? Just about 67%. 2 out of 3 he got right. Good for him. And we all know that he has struggled,
right,
in the last few years with health and so forth. And to me, it is one of the more special things I've seen in television. The way Kirk Herbstreit, and I talked to Kirk about this at one point, about what he did to make sure, and Fowler was like this with him as well, before he went to do the play-by-play stuff. They took care of him.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. And yes, he did fewer segments as time went on, but they protected him. And to me, there is nothing greater than compassion.
No.
And by the way, he's going to do one more broadcast.
Yeah.
It's going to be August 30th.
Okay, it is doing 30th. Okay, so it's very obvious.
Right. His final broadcast will be August 30th.
Yeah. Well, you could easily. I have absolutely zero doubt where that game day location is going to be then. If he's doing it August 30th, obviously the most famous headgear that he picked more than anything was Brutus. That's going to be in Columbus.
Yeah.
For Ohio State and Texas. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. He suffered a stroke in 2009. There was a period of time he could not speak. He returned to the show later that year. Travel's been limited in recent years. But he was at the national championship game. He said, ESPN has been exceptionally generous to me, especially these past few years. They accommodated me and supported me, as did my colleagues in the early days of College Game Day. Special thanks to Kirk Herbstreit for his friendship and encouragement. And lest I forget the fans, truly a blessing to share this with them. ESPN gave me a wonderful opportunity and provided me with the support to ensure success, and I am genuinely grateful. And Herbstreit and Corso have been together on the show since '96. Kirk Herbstreit put out a statement. He said, Coach Corso has had an iconic run in broadcasting. We're all lucky to have been around to witness it. He has taught me so much throughout our time together, and he's been like a second father to me. It has been my absolute honor to have the best seat in the house to watch Coach put on the mascot head each week. So,
yeah.
And, of course, as a college football coach, he coached at Louisville, Indiana, which he's talked about a lot, Northern Illinois, and, of course, played at Florida State at the same time as Burt Reynolds.
Yep, which makes me almost rethink saying I have zero doubt. Alabama does play Florida State that day in Tallahassee, so that is a possibility, too, on a location. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty good, though. About Ohio State, Texas would probably be
that
the
would
choice. I realize that there'll be some
Florida State because of
thought
sentimental,
about,
but yeah, to me, I think Ohio State. Yeah, Ohio State and Texas. I think the 3-letter network will probably have the game, but I do think it will be in game day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because to open the season with that kind of game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's
defending national
and
champion.
it's your chance to get an SEC school.
They played in the semifinals.
Yes.
Yeah. So, changes for college football. Nothing earth-shattering here.
No.
Under the new rule approved yesterday, if medical personnel enter the field to evaluate an injured player after the ball is spotted by the officiating crew for the next play, the player's team will be charged a timeout. This is talking about the fake injury problem.
Yeah.
If the team doesn't have any timeouts, a 5-yard delay of game penalty will be assessed. So they're trying to cut down on people that they think might be faking injuries. And that's what they want to do. If they determine that a player had faked an injury to manipulate the rules, the offending team's conference was notified before this. Well, now they're going to start doing it in terms of penalizing with timeouts and or 5-yard penalties. They also approved a rule regarding overtime timeouts after Kirby Smart took the Georgia Tech game, which it's under the rules, but it just got to the point of, I'm watching the game like, you knew he was going to call a timeout every time. So, this is when his team was on defense.
Yeah.
How do they line up timeout? How do they line up timeout? These are all the 2-point conversions, and it went 7 overtimes. And you're sitting there like, I know what you're doing. I know it's absolutely within the rules. Well, now, once you get to the 3rd overtime, you get a timeout. That is it. You get a timeout. Once you use it, you're done.
Good.
So once you get to the 3rd timeout, that's it.
Good.
Next, you will no longer hear confirmed or stands. Okay? It's either overturned or upheld. God, I feel better. Okay? No offensive player can be in the direct line of the snap of the potential kicker or within the frame of the snapper on punts for a formation to qualify as a scrimmage kick formation. Okay? If a team is not in scrimmage kick formation, it must have 5 players numbered 50 through 79 on the line of scrimmage. Okay, this is a little interesting here. No offensive player can be in the direct line of the snap of the potential kicker or within the frame of the snapper on punts. If a team is not in scrimmage formation, it must have, 5 players.
5 players, yeah.
Okay, 50 to 7. Because remember, Tyler Jasanski's 48. Now, that doesn't qualify for what this is talking about here. Additionally, if the snapper is on the end of the line of the formation, the snapper will lose scrimmage kick protection, and the opposition can line up a player over the snapper. That's fine. I have no problem with that. If a player on the kickoff return makes the T signal with his arms, the team gives up the right to return the kick, and the play will be ruled dead. Illinois-South Carolina bowl game. South Carolina faked the T, returned the kick. That's why Brett Bielema was so upset. Enhanced rules regarding simulating action at the snap or words or signals that distract opponents when they are preparing to put the ball in play will be in effect this season. No player can call defensive signals that simulate the sound or cadence of the offensive signal. Okay. The defensive terms such as move and stem would be reserved for players on that side of the ball and could not be used by the offense. So in other words, the quarterback can't get up there and go stem, and all of a sudden these guys are like, oh, yeah, okay, great. So after the 2-minute timeout, known on our broadcast as the 2-minute warning because that's how America refers to it as, if the defense commits a foul with 12 or more players, here's the Oregon rule.
Yeah.
If the defense commits a foul with 12 or more players on the field and all players participate in the play, the officials will administer a 5-yard penalty, and the offensive team has the option to reset the game clock to the time when the play was starting. Now, if the 12 players attempting to leave the field and has no influence on the play, the defensive team is penalized 5 yards, and there is no adjustment to the game clock. Okay? And coach-to-player communication, which, of course, was in FBS last year, will now be allowed for teams that compete in FCS. So those are some of the rules that you have. The transfer portal, you may not be aware. And here, Lulu Bell's here. Hello.
Got a visitor.
Best guest we've had in months. Months, I tell you.
Took one look at me and went the other way and said, I'm out of here.
Oh, hi there. How are you? How are you doing? Huh? Are you doing okay today? Huh?
It's Pat Urban's dog.
There you go. How are you? Huh? Okay. You know what I think? I'm trying to do this show here since I'm doing this incredible podcast.
So part of the problem is they can't see the dog.
They can't see Luna Bell.
Yeah.
No.
It's okay. I know, yes, you're wagging that tail of yours. I know you are. Now, I have to go finish this. I got to make an important point out about the transfer portal. At least I think in my own mind it's important. So I'll let the dog out first. There you go. Come on. I gotta give you credit.
He knows. He gets in there with ease. She gets in there with ease. Yeah.
You do. There you go. Running down to see Angela and Kyle. So there we are. Okay. And now back to the show.
There it is.
There you go. Yeah. So
The only guest that's allowed to break down the door when the mic light is on.
Oh. Free to come in anytime.
That's right.
Okay. So except for the 4 names that came out yesterday, right now that's where it is.
Yeah.
So Penn State is at 116 players on the roster right now. They are practiced, not today. Okay, it's the first Thursday that they have not practiced during the spring. That's going to be tomorrow. And then next week's the 4-practice week, Monday, Wednesday, Fast Friday, scrimmage. But except for the 4 players that we've heard about, right now that's it. That doesn't mean somebody doesn't do it by the end of the week. You have until Friday next week. And it's Friday at midnight, by the way. Friday at midnight. I mean, this is where it is. And Nate Bauer of On3.com reported earlier today that J.B. Nelson has 4 places that he has scheduled visits. 3 are ACC schools, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, and Syracuse. Maryland is the other school. Okay. And look, when you're looking at, and then Beckham D, according to Nate, and we know Beckham is a walk-on linebacker here. It looks like he could be going to Lafayette. Perfect. That's a great landing spot for him if that's what it turns out to be. I don't know if he's made up his mind yet, but yeah. So that's where we are with it. And basketball has had, I'm not going to get into who, but they've had visits. They already have Josh Reed, who said yes, he's coming. He's leaving Cincinnati to come here. And they've had other visits. I mean, look, however Mike wants to put the number of players in, it's all a matter of the comfort level. As to how many players you want to have. And go from there. Every coach is going to have, there may be a couple of coaches that want 15 guys. There may be some coaches that want 12 or 13. It's all about how comfortable you are with your roster and how you want to coach your roster. West Virginia, meanwhile, which has had a coaching change, had 36 players go in the portal yesterday. Okay, their problem right now is getting to 105.
Yeah, getting to anybody, yeah.
Their problem is getting to 105. Not like, oh God, we got to get down to 105. They have the eye. They're trying to get back up to 105. So that is that's where we are with this. It's we live in a world of like just dumb things right now.
Yeah.
Dumb things. Marty Smith had people criticize him for wearing Air Jordans at the Masters. Like, what? Have you ever met Marty Smith?
Yeah.
He's look,
back when he covered NASCAR. He's a phenomenal guy.
He's like one of the nicest guys.
Yeah.
Like nice guy. Okay. He wears Air Jordans with a suit while conducting an interview at Augusta National. Was criticized by viewers online. Oh, there's a shock online.
Yes.
Some said that wearing sneakers with a suit was always a bad decision, while others said that it was a fashion faux pas at a place as dignified as Augusta National. I can tell you right now, everybody around Augusta National, walking around there, was either wearing one of two things, golf shoes or sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Just for the critics so you understand. Right? It's a grass layout.
Yeah. Good Lord.
Oh, my goodness. And the dog is back.
He is back again.
All right, hello. Why don't
what.
you go over and bug him?
I'll tell you.
Why don't you go over and bug him a little bit? Some reason you don't. I know he's got a bad rep.
Yeah.
Okay. This dog understands.
She completely
what Patches felt. Patches the dog. Oh. Why are we criticizing guys? And the same thing when it comes to women reporting. They get criticized on what they're wearing. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Oh, hold
completely
on.
up.
Hold on.
She came in and decided, you know what? I'm here 2 minutes. That's 2 minutes too long. I'm out of here.
There you go. Gotta let you back.
Made the cameo, and that was it. Headed out the door.
It's twice in one show. Right? You're probably asking why we don't have a lock in here. All right.
That door is pretty powerful. For Luna Bell to get in there, that's pretty good.
I don't know.
Does it not latch?
I don't think it latches.
Oh, well, then there you go.
I don't think it latches.
But yeah, I agree.
We get it's too much picayune stuff.
Stupid.
Just stop with the picayune stuff.
Completely stupid.
What is wrong with, who cares? Right?
Yeah.
I don't. What does it matter?
It does.
Right? And it doesn't.
Yeah, I hate to break it to the critics. I have seen many have sneakers on a suit under a suit.
Oh, sure.
Heck, I've seen some people that aren't on the green screen wear shorts.
For goodness sakes! In the summertime on television.
Yeah.
Do you think anchors are sitting behind the desk in a full jacket and tie?
Heck no.
Right? Or do you think they're sitting there with a jacket, tie, and shorts?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, they are. You just can't see their
legs.
You
can't see it, exactly. Hey,
when it's 95 degrees outside, when they're done, they just want to, come on.
Ridiculous.
By the way, how about Justin Hageman?
Ah, nice. Yeah.
How about that?
Match yesterday? How about it?
With the Mets, had a strikeout.
Yeah.
So fabulous to see a Penn State pitcher in the major leagues. He's to his credit, has done very, very well. So that's big because we've been seeing the hockey signings of late. And I think it was Simon Mack was the latest. I think he signed with the Calgary Flames minor league team, which is great. And, of course, we all know that Sergeyev signed with the Flames as well. But that's where we are right now. And, the transfer portal part, it is what it is. Like, you didn't even
I think when you followed Luna out the door, the camera followed you.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Yeah. Boy. But the transfer portal part is obviously very interesting. A lot of movement. Nico, I don't think it's official yet, but it sounds like by all.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, you had to go to a Big Ten team.
Yeah. UCLA, it sounds like.
No, that's not the issue. That's not the issue. Jack and I are going to have to say the name for 4 hours.
That is a. Let's call him Nico.
Bummer.
Let's call him Nico. For many years, people couldn't say Tua.
I know.
It's Tua.
But I'm going to have to sit there, EMA for EMA Lava, 4 hours, EMA Lava. Here we go. It's like, come on. It's like, I was kind of hoping he'd go to the Big 12 just so I didn't have to say the name. But we'll come up with a better one. That's fine. We'll come up with the ability to do it right. We'll be good. I saw that. My first thought was, oh, no, October 4th, I'm going to have to say the name for 4 hours. Hey, nobody said the job was perfect.
No.
And then we can, whatever the money is, or I no idea.
No.
And
nope.
We've talked about the issues of it already. Okay, that's fine. We've talked about the issues with it already. Now let's get to brass tacks. Jack and I have to say the name for 4 hours.
4 hours. 4 hours on a road game, too. Hey, at least you won't get stopped on the way out. Hey, did you say the name right?
Back goes Nico. Nico throws. like maybe slip in an EMA Lava early. Just like, they got it. EMA Lava. Hey, they got it, right? Then a lot of Nico. That's all we need is that. You weren't quite saying it right. What the heck do you want me to do? You want to do
the absolute worst? And look, the fans don't know it, but is when and obviously Rodney and Joe are outstanding, and this doesn't apply to them. But when I travel in high school, it's happened before. The PA guy gets the name wrong.
Oh.
And people burst into your booth. Hey, you're not saying the name right. What?
Or the double number part.
Yeah. Yep.
And they don't know who the guy.
And they don't know who the guy. Yep.
Know which one of the two it happens to be. Yeah. I've heard a lot of tackles made on public address announcers where I sit back and go, "Nah, it's not the guy." That's not the guy. It's the other one. Like, okay. So I've heard that a lot during the. And you're not going to know.
No, you're not. Absolutely not going to know. Not unless you were told.
Especially like it's a special teams play.
Yeah.
Like, for example, we all saw this week that John Mitchell put his name into the transfer portal. Well, you saw in the SMU game, SMU finally scored a touchdown, so they kicked an onside kick. Well, number 12 recovered it. Well, that was Johnny Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't Anthony Ivey.
Yep.
Right. And it's so, yeah. But it's part of the job. I've heard a lot of interesting tackles made over the years. Tackle made by, it's like, no, that's not the right guy. So,
in one high school town, Finn Furmanek was Furmanek the entire game.
what was this now?
Finn Furmanek, they called him Furmanek the entire
Furmanek,
game.
yeah.
The entire game.
Yeah, Furmanek.
Tried to tell him.
I told Finn's a good player, by the way.
Finn is a great.
Finn is
phenomenal.
Finn is a good player, by the way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's just that's why this walk-on thing bothers me so much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I watch a Finn Furman, and I don't know, there are going to be some that make the 105 if they have to get down to this. I'm still waiting to see what's going to happen with this. Again, she can't change the rules. Claudia Wilkin can't change the settlement, but she can encourage elements that get them to the settlement. How about that?
Yep.
And she's, in my opinion, she's the one that has it right. But that bothers me. When I look out there and I see these guys, Keith Sweater, Tyler Holsworth, all right, we were just talking about Finn Furmanek, Emil Davis. You're looking at these guys like going, to me, they're invaluable.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But what I think is invaluable, what somebody else does, who knows?
Yeah.
By the way, when Penn State won the wrestling national title, they became the fourth school in the history of the NCAA to have 100 national titles. Stanford at 155, most of them in sailing. No, I'm just kidding. Stanford at 155, UCLA 144, USC 136, and now Penn State with 100. So there you go. Is there another school that's close? Actually, no. If you're wondering, like, for example, Ohio State, they have 75. Okay? The fifth place team in the list is Yale at 88. Now, unless it's like, with all due respect, a fencing national title or something like that, Yale is not going to be able to catch up. Same thing with Cornell, which is next at 80. Ohio State 75. Navy is 74. Princeton 70. Texas 67.
The ironic part of it, you mentioned wrestling. It was on this day in 2009, Cale Sanderson was hired to come here.
Yep.
And it worked out. I think it's still, jury's still out a little bit on it, but I think it's worked out pretty well so far.
You're ill. No.
I pray the audience got the sarcasm just a little bit there.
Hey, what's wrong? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? So yeah. Yeah, how about that? So it's what, 16 years?
Yeah.
Jeez. It's interesting because Gina Oriema won his 12th national title. And of course, now there's the usual clickbait,
hot take debate,
lowest common denominator
is,
discussion about, is somebody the greatest ever or whatever. And they're talking about his 12 titles and in college, blah, blah. I'm sitting there like going, Cale Sanderson has 12 in the last 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you think Cale cares?
No.
Do you think Gino cares?
No. Nope.
And it's like, okay.
No.
That's the interesting part about these guys. Like, the really good ones, like, don't care.
No.
I mean, when it comes to like that, they're so secure in themselves. They're just so secure in themselves that they don't think about those things. If you're secure in who you are and what you do, 9 times out of 10, you know what you don't do? You don't look back.
Right.
Unless you're forced to.
Unless you're forced to, sure.
I mean, if you're forced to.
Right.
To look back. And then politely answer the questions when you look back. But these people are always looking forward. Cale Sanderson wins the national title in Philadelphia. What do you think he's doing Monday?
Yeah.
He's thinking about what are they going to do for this. It's the building process for next year is underway. Gino Auriemma wins it, goes. They do the parade, makes the speech at Gamble. We're all good. What do you think he's doing? Right? Making sure he's taking time out for Paige Beckers because she ended up being the first overall pick in the WNBA draft by the Dallas Wings. And, those are things as a coach, you want to do. That's a great moment. I mean, I would guess, it's not like he's never been there, but I would guess James is going to make sure. Well, and I don't think James can be there for the draft for Abdul. Well, he could because Penn State's not practicing Thursday. So I could see James being out there for Abdul and Tyler. Well, Tyler's not going to be there.
Tyler's not, no.
Right. But to be there, I could see James being with Abdul out there because it's Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
And last I checked, Penn State has a plane.
Right.
So I would guess that he would be out there because Penn State goes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and the Friday practice is later in the afternoon. But James would want to be out there for Abdul Carter, absolutely. And Abdul will walk across that stage. It'll be a great moment for him, great moment for Penn State. And, in that first round, it's going to be a great moment for Penn State. Because you're going to sit there among the first 15 picks in the draft. You're going to have two Penn State players.
Penn Staters, absolutely.
Right? And two Penn Staters have a chance to, I think, have, if they stay injury-free, a long, very long career. And then you've got later, the next day, the guy I have termed as the steal of the draft, and that is KJ Winston.
Mm-hmm.
Winston only played 5 quarters last year. There are a lot of people that don't know what he can do.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And then and the other guy I talked a lot about was Jalen Reed.
Yeah, Reed. Yeah,
and I was explaining to them that every defense needs to have the brains of the operation that knows where all the chess pieces are supposed to be.
And that hybrid guy, I think that's what Reed is. A lot of times he's got that Polamalu instinct in him where I'm not anointing him into the same level of Polamalu. Obviously, he's always going to have to. He would never want that, but style-wise, I think he's phenomenal. He can tackle. He's in coverage. He's great.
Really smart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, really smart.
Yeah, learned from a lot of that came before him, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no question about it. So, that's next week. And it's always interesting, the stories leading up to a draft. And I know I told you yesterday about the Patriots and the talk shows up there like going, what's wrong with you people? All right. I could care less. Whatever they want to do, they do. But the stories leading up, who's the guy that's going to have the most stories about him leading up to the draft?
You're talking about leading up? Well, I'd say Shedeur Sanders or Travis Hunter.
All right.
Either one of them.
Oh, Shedeur Sanders. Yeah. Okay. What was the story that came out yesterday? Evidently, many, if not a majority, of front offices don't have him in the first round.
Doesn't surprise me, honestly. I
don't know.
I think a lot of people have been. Well, first of all, you just look at how many teams have been burned by poor quarterback play via the draft, and that's a big part of it. Where you look at it and say, okay, we're at a point now where the salary cap is where we can't set our franchise back 5 years.
He is an interesting prospect because I think he has a lot of terrific traits.
Yeah, he does. And obviously, and you can't ignore his father. I mean, his father's one of the smartest players to ever play the game.
I mean that part. I mean, I've got that part. I don't really, I don't. I look at Shedeur Sanders as Shedeur Sanders. I don't hold.
No, I don't.
His father either against him or for him.
No.
Either way, I look at him
it helps. I think it helps because you can adapt a little bit better, understanding where
I look at him
came from
as an entity unto himself. His dad didn't play quarterback.
No, but I think in terms of the NFL adjustment, I think he's got him for guidance. Is my point.
Right. I mean, what do I like about him? Well, there are a lot of things I like about him. I like that he is short to intermediate throws. I think he's accurate. I think, for the most part, he sees the field well. He is tough as nails. He gets up. He's not had the greatest offensive line of work and back of the last 2 years, but he gets up, keeps playing. Doesn't quit. He is not the runner people think he is.
No.
Right? And the deep ball is an issue with him. And that is something where you look at where they are. To me, it just takes one team. It doesn't matter if there are teams that that don't have him in the first round. Well, you only need one team to draft him.
Yeah, there's teams that draft late in the first round that need a quarterback.
I mean, so.
Yeah, so it's going to be up in the air.
I mean, Okay, so here's the evaluation on Sanders. Sanders is a fine athlete. Or excuse me, if Sanders is a fine prospect.
Right.
He does a lot of things well, but not at an elite level. Okay? Does a great job of seeing blitzes. He changes protections at the line of scrimmage. And to your point, intelligent enough to help make halftime adjustments with offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur. The fact that Shurmur is an NFL head coach and offensive coordinator helps.
Yeah.
Okay, now we get to the part that is the problem. He has an average to below average arm. Okay,
which isn't always
but
major issue.
But I said I also said he's accurate throwing the short and medium, short to medium. So I said
I think the right offense can fix that without necessarily fixing it entirely. If you know what I mean.
His deep passes have a tendency to be overthrown, forcing the receiver to come back and make a great catch.
No question.
It would be underthrown.
Yep.
Underthrown.
Yeah.
Right. What did I say? Same thing I just said. Right. Deep ball, not great. He processes well, is willing to make throws in the middle of the field, he has good accuracy, but it's not elite like Joe Burrow was in college.
Oh.
Now, I would like to say
I was going to say that is,
Joe Burrow's offensive line, maybe. Okay.
I also talk about. I remember I made the point about a couple days ago. Is there any quarterback that sticks out? Like, hey, this guy's going to be a franchise quarterback, and I named the two Colts. I named Luck and Manning. Should have named Burrow in there too. Yeah, sure. Burrow is absolutely out of college, was NFL ready. There's no doubt.
Right. He's also an adequate athlete. Adequate, not great. He's adequate. All right, but attempts to make plays out of structure like he's a much better athlete. That's true. Again, like I said, people think like, oh, I think that's where the Dion part comes in. Yeah. Oh, he must be a great athlete the way he runs around the field. You watch him; he's not. No. He has improved his pocket presence, but he drifts too much. And he attempts to make too many out-of-structure plays.
Yeah, that as a quarterback is a big problem.
The pass rushers in the NFL will be more athletic. Sanders will be able to come in and play right away and has a relatively high floor, but has a limited ceiling.
Yeah, the other part of it is you drift against that athleticism, you're going to turn it over quite a bit.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's get to Dane Brugler here. He put out on The Athletic a full and complete NFL draft guide, including an evaluation of you, which was not pretty.
Well, that's not fair, because Brugler's one of I've known Brugler a while. He's one of the very best.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's what Brugler writes about him. All right, and this is courtesy of The Athletic. And he's labeled as a first or second round pick. 2-year starter, Sanders produced at a high level and offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur's RPO-based scheme. After finishing 1-11 in 2022, the Buffaloes had a winning record 13-11 over the past 2 seasons in games started by Sanders. He set school records in passing yards, 41-34, passing touchdowns, 37, total touchdowns, 41. Although not close to the athlete his father was, Sanders is a controlled, polished passer, true, who gets the ball out accurately in structure and when throwing on the move. Cool customer, all right? High completion percentage reflects his steady heartbeat. I agree with all this, right? However, he benefited from a high volume of screens and checkdowns. Just 24% of his completions in the past 2 seasons were thrown over 10 yards. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? So you're talking about 76% of his completions were under 10 yards. Now, check down also was a smart play. Right? Maybe not all of them are, but okay. The chief concern on his college tape is his inconsistent pocket feel, which was highlighted by poor protection. He will climb and maneuver on some plays. Then, as we've talked before, he will then drift or retreat on others, vastly lowering his success rate. Overall, Sanders doesn't have the physical traits to get away from some of his decisions. That's true. But he is poised. We know that. Rhythmic passer when he stays true to his skill set, and he shows the necessary touch and confidence of an NFL starter. He is best fit in a timing-based offense. Now, you may have a timing-based offense, but you have no offensive line to do anything with the timing.
It's true.
Right. And, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I think that's...
I mean they got Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
Dart. Now, here's Dart.
Yeah.
All right. Intriguing set of tools. Not tall, 6'2". True. Well built.
Sanders is 6'1".
Well built, 225. True. Excellent runner. No question.
Yeah.
Again, you're talking about a guy now I've seen in person. So, all right. Who can be used in the quarterback running game. Second best arm talent compared to Cam Ward. Jack and I both feel strongly about that. This draft, though, does not feature a lot of spectacular throwers. True. He could throw accurately off the platform and maintain accuracy while getting hit. Also true. Biggest concern with Dart is that he's coming from a simplistic offense that doesn't translate to the NFL. Lane Kiffin, excellent at calling plays that got Dart's first read open, but Dart struggled when getting late in his progression. Good example is that against Florida. The Florida game did not help him. Early in the game, he hit his first reads for big plays. Late in the game, Florida took away those reads on the same concepts, and he still threw the ball in the coverage. In my opinion, Dart will need to sit and learn an NFL offense before playing. And again, that is the Dane Brugler. He has him the 49th best player in the draft. Third quarterback. Shador is second. He has him as the 34th best player in the draft. If you're wondering about Cam Ward, who will be the first overall pick, Brugler has him as the 13th rated player in the draft. He's 13. Sanders is 34. 49 is Dart. Then after that, his fourth quarterback, let me see here. Will Howard is 4.
Yeah, I was going to say Howard's got to be top 5. Yeah.
Checks physical, mental boxes to stick as a backup and potential spot starter. He is not ranked in the top 100 players. Kid from Louisville. He actually has him ranked 50th. He has him ranked higher than Will Howard.
Will Howard? I don't know about that.
No, he has Howard as his. Then there's Jalen Milroe. Milroe's going to Green Bay. Did you see that?
He's going to the draft?
Yeah. He's one of the 17 players going. I thought to myself,
Not going to be drafted very high. Going to have a vacation in Green Bay. I think he's going to be there a couple days.
I thought to myself, that was strange. I thought that was strange.
Uh-huh.
Now look, is he one of the best athletes out there? No question about
but he's
that.
not.
So Dane Brugler writes, says the team that drafts him will be able to run an option offense featuring a 220-pound quarterback who runs a 4.3 to 4.4 40. The ball explodes out of his hands. Here's the problem, though. It explodes out of his hands. You have no idea where it's
going to go.
Where it's going to go. He throws with a ton of velocity and distance. So the arm's not an issue in terms of, like, strength. There were examples of him getting through multiple progressions on drop-back concepts. He lacks a feel for the passing game. Really? In terms of timing. Really? Right? Ball placement, although the touchdown pass to Bond against Auburn 2 years ago was outstanding.
Needing 29 yards, yeah.
Yep. Where the pass rush is. He does things you can't teach. That's true.
Sure.
Right? But he has to improve, and he has things that can be difficult to fix in a league that lacks patience.
100% spot on there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lack patience, especially at that position. Because you know, even as a backup, okay, as physical as the game's going to be, you're going to have an 18-game schedule here very soon at some point. It's the physicality. As a backup, you're going to be called upon at some point. And, teams, executives, fans do not have patience in the NFL at the quarterback position.
86th ranked player in the draft, 6th rated quarterback for Dane Brugler is Quinn Ewers. Here's what he writes about Ewers. Nimble athlete who can pick up first downs when the defense is out of their pass lanes. True. Mm-hmm. Though he's willing to scramble, he isn't a big play threat. 6.5 yards per scramble. Has a quick, snappy release, which helps him to execute Texas' extensive RPO menu. Can generate a lot of power without a lot of space on his throws and is willing to take chances downfield. I'll be honest with you. I was never impressed with his arm strength.
Downfield, no.
I
think
right?
he's got kind of and I'm not comparing him completely to this guy. He's got the Bo Nix release.
Yeah.
The quick release.
He said he isn't willing to throw the ball into tight windows in the intermediate range and lives off deep throws or quick passes. He's not a precision deep ball passer. But, boy, when he needed it against Arizona State, he got one.
He got one. You better believe it.
He's throwing into general areas that rather than throwing with precision. He is sensitive to pressure and too willing to drift back or throw the ball off his back foot. That's very true. Despite above-average athleticism, he gets taken down by pass rushers far too often. His pressure-to-sack rate, 23.2%. Which, if you're wondering, what's the pressure-to-sack rate in college normally? It's 18.7. And remember, he's got an offensive line at Texas in front.
That's incredible.
He's got two guys that are going to be in the first two rounds of the draft, if not the first round. Strong arm, I'm still not quite sold on that part. Quick release, agreed. Accuracy, especially his deep ball, is spotty. There weren't many examples on video of him getting deep into his progressions. Overall, Ewers has a nice arm, plenty of experience, but his negatives far outweigh his physical tools. His lack of success in the true drop-back game and turnover-worthy play rate may, quote Dane Brugler, be questioned whether he would even be a reliable backup. To his credit, he's a tough kid, very true, who played through injuries, but he's also been injury-prone. Questions about Ewers' arm intelligence and poise will translate to the NFL. Okay. So there you go. Those are some of the quarterbacks and how and I'll get one more in here. And that is, let me see here. Yeah. Dylan Gabriel. All right. Now, what's Gabriel's biggest issue? Height.
Height, probably. Yeah.
No, it's height. There's no question. Okay, now they list him at 5'11", 205. Jeez, I don't know. When I saw him, I didn't feel like he was 5'11". Let's see. He's also 24 and a half years old.
Yeah.
Okay. 9th rated quarterback on Dane Brugler's board from the Athletic. Lefty passer, quick trigger release, competes with veteran awareness both in muddy pockets and in space. Outstanding field to patiently soar through rush, elude pressure, buy time. Foot quickness allows sudden resets with base and mechanics. Keeps his eyes downfield, doesn't panic when locating secondary progressions. Although in the Rose Bowl, I thought you could just tell everything. The wheels were off the wagon.
Absolutely.
Does not have the power arm, but spins tight, accurate spirals. Short to intermediate game. True. Excellent touch on deep bucket throws, especially over the middle of the field pass routes. Okay. Intensely competitive. Highly respected by teammates. Incredible production. Okay. No doubt about that. Now here's the weakness. What is the number one weakness he has?
Gabriel?
Well, we just talked about
It's height, obviously.
short stature with smaller hands.
Smaller hands, so he's not going to be able to see
maxed
over
out
the
build.
line.
In other words, he's going to what you get. Deep throws outside the numbers lose life. Struggles to add zip. Average anticipation. Quick game and check downs helped inflate his completion percentage. Trouble recognizing underneath defenders, especially in the red zone. 4 of his 6 interceptions in 24 came in goal-to-goal situations. The other part is turns 25 as a rookie.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Which, it's a problem, but Nick's was 24 last year. So you are going to see guys that are going to be older, but absolutely. I think the other stuff is a big problem.
Yeah. So,
especially in the goal. We've seen that from a lot of quarterbacks that are high on draft boards is what they do in the red zone, and I think that's something that teams are now starting to recognize.
yeah.
Daniel Jones was horrendous in the red zone.
But you're a negative person.
Yeah, well.
Okay. He's also from one of those families where the boys are all named after players. Okay. Like, so, I think he has a brother that's Roman or something like that. So, obviously he has a brother Garrison who's named for Garrison Hurst.
Yeah.
He has a brother Roman who's named for Roman Gabriel. And he is named for Corey Dillon.
Corey Dillon, nice.
Okay. So, yeah. So there you go. Those are some of the draft quarterbacks. By the way, Stanley Cup. I think I just saw this. I think they had the matchups all set. But Montreal was the last team to qualify. Winnipeg will take on St. Louis, Dallas against Colorado, Vegas against Minnesota, Kings and Oilers. Again, I feel like the Kings and Oilers play every year in the playoffs. On the other side, Toronto against Ottawa. I think Ottawa's going to beat them.
They could, yep.
Tampa Bay,
the Leafs
Florida.
have not had a strong history in the first round either.
Tampa Bay, Florida, Washington, Montreal, so Ovechkin, and Carolina and New Jersey.
Next year will be the year for the Flyers. Maybe next century. Next year, next century, same difference.
What's wrong with you?
Philadelphia is very, very happy they have the Phillies and Sixers. They're very happy they have the Phillies and Eagles right now.
You're so off your game.
Sixers not so much.
You're so off your game right now. You don't even know who's playing. Golly, what's next? We're happy we have the Union. Oh, I forgot. You ripped the city of Chester on the show the other day. I mean, there are other. I mean,
I wouldn't be alone on that one.
I mean, you're just. Oh.
Westchester's a nice area. Westchester's a very nice area.
Finally got you to say something
Very
positive
nice
about
area.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, I say a lot of positive things about Pennsylvania. Just
When?
haven't started yet.
When? God. I mean, I didn't grow up here, and I love this state.
I love it. Absolutely.
I mean, I've legitimately,
same.
I love this state.
Same.
It's not perfect, but I love the state.
Yep.
I don't know. That's one of the
Same.
fun things about driving around all over the place. I mean, look, I've lived here now in the state 49 years. Okay? So I may not be a Pennsylvanian,
Yeah.
but when I've lived 49 of the years here,
I think it counts.
right? Like, come on. I think this is a
Excellent. I agree.
beautiful, great state.
Great.
So, despite what you said there's about 25 towns you've ripped. We have a list in the break room. Chester was added to the list the other day.
Chester.
It's like everywhere State Ice played, you've ripped.
That would be a long list. The folks in Western Pennsylvania would hate my guts for all the times they played out there. And the folks down 322 for all the times they played in that area.
I think it's time to end this because, I mean, I don't know who may come by the window and go after you. And I don't want to be collateral damage.